Welcome to Luxury Stories 24/7, where every story is full of emotions, lessons, and unforgettable moments. Get ready for a journey of love, betrayal, and healing. Let the story begin. Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between green hills and dusty red roads, lived a young man named Chijioke. He was the kind of son every mother prayed for, kind, respectful, and hard-working. His family didn't have much, but Chijioke had dreams bigger than the skies above their tiny village. As the first son, responsibility weighed heavily on his shoulders. His father had passed away when he was only 17, leaving him to care for his mother, 2 younger brothers, and 1 sister. Life was hard. Their mud house leaked whenever it rained, and feeding everyone was a daily struggle. But Chijioke never complained. After years of doing small jobs in town, one opportunity came that changed his life: a job offer in Dubai. At first it sounded too good to be true, but after months of preparation, selling his late father's farmland, and borrowing money from a family friend, he finally got on a plane for the very first time. His entire village came out that morning to see him off. His mother, Mama Ada, cried and held him tightly. "Don't forget us, my son," she whispered as he boarded the bus to the airport. And he never did. In Dubai, life wasn't easy. Chijioke worked as a cleaner during the day and loaded heavy goods at night. Sometimes he only slept for 2 hours. He lived in a cramped room with 5 other men and ate bread and tea most days. But he didn't mind. Every month he sent money home, to pay for his sister Ada's school fees, to support his mother, and later to start building his dream house. That house became his motivation. He had promised himself that one day he would return home not as the poor village boy they once knew, but as a man who built his own mansion from nothing. A house with tiles, solar lights, a borehole, and even a small guest room just for visitors. He imagined the compound filled with fruit trees, a sitting room with air conditioning, and a gate with a lion statue. So, after 2 years in Dubai, he called his eldest uncle and said, "Uncle, I want to start building. I'll be sending the money to you and Mama. Please help me supervise the workers." They agreed. At first, things went well. Every time he sent money, they gave updates. His younger brother sent him photos, blocks arranged on the land, a small foundation being dug. Chijioke was filled with hope. "Just wait, Chiji," his brother texted one day. "Your house go be talk of the town." Over the next 5 years, Chijioke sent everything he had. He didn't buy new clothes. He didn't go out like his colleagues did. When his friends bought iPhones, he kept using his broken Android. He believed that sacrifice today would bring joy tomorrow. Every December, when others returned to Nigeria for holidays, Chijioke stayed back. "I want to finish my house first," he told his friends. One night he got a message from his brother, a video. It showed a beautiful house, cream-colored walls, tiled floors, spacious kitchen, ceiling fans spinning, and outside a wide compound with flowers planted in front. "This is your house, Chiji," his brother wrote. "Almost done. Just need to finish the fence and paint." Tears filled Chijioke's eyes. He knelt down on his small mattress in Dubai and cried. Not from pain, but from joy. All his suffering had not been in vain. His dream was finally becoming real. That night he called his mother. "Mama, I saw the video. The house is beautiful." His mother laughed. "Ah, my son, you have tried. You are now a man. The whole village is talking about your house." His chest swelled with pride. For the first time he felt like he had truly made it. A year later, things changed. Chijioke had finally saved enough to return home. After nearly 9 years, he booked his flight quietly. He didn't tell his family. He wanted to surprise them. He imagined the look on their faces when he would stand in front of the gate of his house and say, "I'm home." He arrived in Nigeria in December, but didn't go to the village immediately. He spent 2 days in Lagos, bought gifts, new clothes, and even a smartphone for each of his siblings. Then he traveled down to the east. As the bus drove closer to his village, his heart raced. His mind kept going back to that video of the house. He could already smell the paint, feel the cool breeze in the living room, and see his mother's face glowing with pride as neighbors whispered, "That's Chijioke's house." But nothing could prepare him for what he saw next. When he arrived at the supposed location of his house, he stood frozen. A different family lived there. A man, his wife, and 3 children were seated outside, eating corn and pear. Their clothes were hung on the line. A dog barked and ran toward the gate as Chijioke stepped in, confused. He turned to the neighbor and asked, "Please, who owns this house?" The woman looked at him strangely. "You mean Mr. Osita's house? He built it last year." Chijioke's heart dropped. "Are you sure?" The woman laughed. "I've lived here for over 10 years. I watched him build it from foundation." He left the compound, his hands shaking. Sweat rolled down his back, not from the heat, but from the fear that something was terribly wrong. He rushed home to his family house, an old, tired building with cracks on the wall and no sign of any construction nearby. His mother welcomed him with forced excitement. His brothers avoided eye contact. Ada ran to hug him, but even she looked guilty. "Where is the house?" he asked, his voice trembling. No one answered. He repeated louder, "Where is the house you showed me in the video?" Silence. Then his uncle finally spoke. "Chijioke, please sit down. There's something we need to explain." Chijioke stood still in the middle of the sitting room, his bag still hanging from his shoulder, his heart beating so fast it felt like it would jump out of his chest. His uncle's words rang in his ears like a bell that refused to stop echoing. "Chijioke, please sit down. There's something we need to explain." He didn't sit. He couldn't. His eyes scanned the room. The same old furniture, the same faded curtains. The ceiling fan still made that screeching sound it used to make when he was in secondary school. Nothing had changed. Nothing. So where did all the money go? His mother, Mama Ada, sat on the edge of the plastic chair, staring at the floor. His younger brothers, Uchenna and Ibuka, stood in one corner like children who had been caught stealing meat from the pot. Ada, his sister, quietly slipped into the kitchen, avoiding his gaze. "I said, where is the house?" Chijioke asked again, louder this time. "The one I saw in the video. The one I sent millions for." His uncle sighed deeply and scratched his head. "That house. It's not yours." Chijioke's eyes widened. "What do you mean it's not mine? You showed me videos. You sent me pictures. You gave me updates every time I sent money." Uchenna finally spoke. "Bro, we were going to tell you, but things happened." "What things?" Chijioke shouted. "Tell me now. Where is the house?" No one answered. He dropped his bag and turned to his mother. "Mama, did you know? Did you know the house was not real?" She nodded slowly, still unable to meet his eyes. "I didn't know at first. But later, I found out. I begged them to confess to you." Chijioke laughed bitterly. "So all of you were in on it. You used my sweat, my blood to deceive me." His uncle raised his hand. "Calm down, my son. Let us explain." Chijioke exploded. "Don't call me your son, don't. You all lied to me. You watched me suffer in a foreign land, sleeping on the floor, working day and night, and you spent the money like it was nothing. What did you even do with the money?" Ibuka looked down. "We were trying to build something, but we failed. The money finished before we could even finish the foundation. We didn't want to disappoint you, so we sent you pictures from another building site." Chijioke stared at him like he had lost his mind. "You failed?" So you decided to lie instead of telling me the truth? You let me keep sending more money while you pretended everything was fine? Do you know how many times I went hungry just so you people could finish that house? Do you know how many nights I cried myself to sleep because I missed home?" His mother began to cry. "My son, please forgive us. I told them to tell you. I begged them." He turned to her, the pain in his chest now a physical ache. "Mama, you too?" She wiped her tears. "I didn't know how to stop them. I didn't want to lose you." "You already did," he said coldly. "You all lost me the day you decided that lying was easier than honesty." There was silence in the room, the kind of silence that carries heavy regret. No one knew what to say anymore. The truth had come out, but it didn't feel like relief. It felt like something had broken forever. Chijioke picked up his bag and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" his sister called out, her voice shaking. "Away," he said. "I don't belong here." He left the house, walked down the dusty path leading out of the compound, and didn't look back. His legs moved on their own. He didn't care where he was going. He just wanted to get as far away from them as possible. He found himself at the village square, sitting on an old bench near the tree where elders used to gather in the evenings. The air was warm, and the sun had begun to set, casting long shadows across the ground. He stared at nothing, his mind racing with memories, with questions, with pain. He remembered the nights he had called his mother to ask if they needed anything. She always said they were fine. He remembered the excitement he felt when he received those fake videos. He remembered the friends he refused to help because he was focused on his house. He remembered every single sacrifice. And now, it was all gone. All of it. A lie. A performance by the very people he trusted most. He didn't cry. His eyes were dry, but his heart was bleeding. A few villagers passed by and greeted him. They had heard he was coming home. They had expected to see a big car, a convoy, even bodyguards. But here he was, sitting alone on a bench like a lost soul. He forced a smile and nodded politely. That night he slept in a small guest lodge outside the village. He paid in cash, no calls, no visits. He turned off his phone. The next morning he packed his bags and boarded the first bus going to Abuja. He didn't tell anyone he was leaving. No goodbye, no farewell. He disappeared the same way he came back, quietly. In Abuja, he stayed with an old friend for a few days. He didn't talk much. He avoided questions. But inside him, a fire had started to burn. A fire of purpose. He wasn't going to let betrayal break him. He wasn't going to be a victim forever. He found a small apartment and began to work on an idea he had shelved for years, starting a logistics company. He used the little money he had left to buy a used van. He named the company Bold Move Logistics. It wasn't much, but it was a start. For the first few months he did the deliveries himself. He drove around Abuja, delivering packages, making contacts, building trust. Slowly, clients began to call. He bought another van, then hired a driver, then another. In 1 year, he had 5 vans and a small office space. Chijioke became a ghost to his family. He didn't answer their calls. He didn't reply their messages. Birthdays passed. Christmas passed. Nothing from him. They heard rumors. Some said he was now rich. Some said he relocated abroad again. No one really knew. Meanwhile, in the village, things were falling apart. The money he used to send had long finished. His mother sold her wrappers to pay debts. His brothers fought each other. Ada dropped out of school. The truth had begun to haunt them. They tried everything to reach him. They called old friends, sent messages through villagers, even sent a letter to the logistics company when they found out he owned it. But Chijioke had changed. He didn't forget, and he didn't forgive. One rainy afternoon, Uchenna came to Abuja and stood in front of Bold Move's gate for hours. He waited, hoping to catch a glimpse of his brother. When Chijioke arrived in a tinted SUV, the security man told him someone was waiting. He stepped out, saw his brother drenched in the rain, and paused. "Chiji, please," Uchenna said. "We're sorry. We messed up. Things are bad back home. Mama is sick." Chijioke looked at him for a long moment. Then he said, "You people didn't think about that when you were lying to me." "I know," Uchenna said, wiping his tears. "We thought the money would keep coming. We were stupid." Chijioke nodded slowly. "Yes, you were." "Can we at least talk?" Uchenna begged. "There's nothing to talk about," Chijioke replied. "Tell Mama I hope she feels better, but don't ever come here again." He turned, entered his car, and drove off. That night, as he sat in his mansion in Abuja, the one he built from scratch with his own money, no lies, no tricks, he looked around and smiled. He was alone, but at least he had peace, and that was something no one could ever fake. Chijioke sat in the living room of his home in Abuja. The lights were dim, the television played softly in the background, and a glass of water sat untouched on the table. The mansion was beautiful. White marble floors, tall windows, soft leather seats, and modern decor that spoke of his journey from nothing to something. Yet despite all this, his heart was still heavy. He had everything he once dreamed of, but there was a silence inside him that refused to leave. It wasn't loneliness. He had gotten used to that. It was the kind of silence that followed betrayal, the kind that wrapped around a man's soul and whispered, "Never again." After sending Uchenna away, Chijioke knew he had reached a point of no return. His decision to cut off his family had not been easy, but it was necessary. They hadn't just taken his money, they had taken his trust, and that was harder to rebuild than bricks and mortar. The next morning he woke early, like always. Work had become his therapy, his escape, and his shield. He dressed in a clean white shirt, navy blue trousers, and his polished shoes. As he walked out to his car, his driver opened the door and greeted him. "Good morning, sir," the young man said. "Morning, Samuel. Let's go," Chijioke replied, sliding into the back seat. They drove through the city, past tall buildings and busy markets, toward the Bold Move Logistics headquarters. The office was now 3 floors high, located in a prime part of Abuja. From just one van, the company now owned over 20. They were handling deliveries for big companies, private clients, and even politicians. People respected the name. And more importantly, they respected the man behind it. As Chijioke entered the office, his staff stood and greeted him warmly. He nodded, his expression calm, but focused. In his private office, his assistant, Halima, brought the day's schedule and files. "Sir, you have a radio interview tomorrow. Channels TV wants to do a success profile on you next week, and there's a pending request from a university. They want you to come speak to their business students." Chijioke glanced at the file. "Let's approve the TV interview. The students, maybe later. Let me think about it." Halima smiled. "Noted, sir." As she turned to leave, Chijioke stopped her. "Halima, has anyone else come looking for me lately?" She hesitated. "Not recently. Just that man last week. Your brother, right?" He nodded slowly. "If anyone else comes, no matter who it is, don't let them in. I don't care if it's my mother. I don't want to see anyone from home." She nodded. "Understood, sir." When she left, he leaned back in his chair and looked at the ceiling. The weight was still there, resting on his chest. He had succeeded, yes. But was success enough to wash away betrayal? Days passed. Weeks flew by. The company kept growing. More contracts came in. Chijioke became a name people whispered in business circles. He was invited to events, appeared on TV shows, and became the face of resilience for young entrepreneurs. But he kept his circle small, very small.